Hey yo, Fat Lizard Boy here. This is gonna be a little bit of a special. Part 5 was the final to the main story of, What If Deku Was Sans. This is gonna be a special bit about what happens after. I was gonna make this 20 minutes, but I had too many ideas. This may just end up being an hour long. Hell, who knows? This could be a start of a new series called What If Deku Was Sans After UA. Just goes about their life afterwards. It would be like only a 2 episodes long or something. But like, hey, if you guys want to see that, comment it down below. But yeah, this is going to be like what happens after UA. So I'm going to say everyone is in their 20s. All the students that were in 1A are now in their 20s. I'm going to say Deku is 21. So is Kitsugi. Hold on. Everyone's about their 20s, either they're 21 or 22. I am going to say that most of the ships are still the same. Right? So, it's Tokoyami and Sue. Tail guy with, Hokagure, is that her name? The invisible girl? I don't know. I forget her name. Todoroki. Oh, actually, Todoroki isn't with Momo. Wait, no, should he be? So, nah, never mind. He is with Momo. Jiro and Denki. It's all mainly the same. Yeah, it's all the same. And, well, the only people who do not have a, girlfriend/wife, because Todoroki and Momo are engaged. I'm going to say Tokoyami and Sue have already gotten married, right? The only people who don't have any lovers at all are Bakugo and Kitsuki. If you have not seen my series on What If Deku Was Sans, Kitsuki is Midoriya's brother, and he is friends with Katsuki Bakugo. Alright, and so, hold on, my neck is killing me. And so, I never did really develop this ship in my What If, because I didn't really think about it. I had always had ideas, but I never really knew how to do them. But I'm just gonna say that Deku is with Uraraka. Right? And so... And, hold on, my neck. And so it's mainly only just Bakugo and Kitsuki who do not have anybody to spend their time, who don't have any girls or anything. I will say that Todoroki and Momo, that Momo is pregnant. She's about 8 months in at this point. She's 22. I'm gonna say she's 22 right now. Yeah, I think that she and okay, so Momo is 8 months pregnant. She's 22. Uraraka, I'm gonna age Uraraka up by a year. She's about 23. Yeah. And she is 2 months pregnant. And but Deku and Uraraka already have a child, because they adopted Eri. Well, so what I'm going to say is that, so Deku and Uraraka started dating towards the end of their, time in UA, right? And Eri always looked up to Deku as kind of like a father figure. She saw Mirio as an older brother. And she saw Kitsuki as a funny uncle and stuff. So she always kind of thought of Deku as a father figure. And so that's mainly the reason why Deku adopted her whenever him and Uraraka got together. And so that's just what their lives is like right now. Deku has become the #1 pro hero. Endeavor is the number third. What the fuck am I saying? I don't know. This is harder to make up than the basic what if. So if I'm just keep on going back and repeating stuff, I'm sorry. I'm not good at this type of thing. But Endeavor is the number 3 hero. Third pro hero. Who should be number 2? I'm gonna say, I don't know, I'm kind of going back and forth between, actually, yeah, no, Kitsuki would be the number 2 pro hero. The second pro hero. And so, Deku makes a lot of money off of this and just going out and talking to people. He does a lot of brand endorsements, just mainly showing off nice hoodies and winter clothes and stuff, because he loves them. And I'm going to say Eri would be around... I thought Eri was like 7 in the main anime when the overhaul thing happened. So I'm going to say she's... I'm going to say she's 12. I don't know if that really adds up. I'm stupid right now. But, so Eri is 12 right now. Right? And she started taking after her adopted dad, Deku. She started taking after him. Being lazy and stuff. Telling puns. Kitsuki absolutely hates this. Hates that, and he always tells Deku that he's a bad influence, and Deku always agrees and goes, "Yep." And so so their lives are going pretty good, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna say that their lives are going pretty well. Endeavor's pissed off because he got moved down a spot and was beaten by Kitsuki and Todoroki. Did I just say Todoroki? He was beaten by Kitsuki and Deku. Very swiftly. They rose up in the ranks very fast. Most of the pro heroes who didn't know who they were, I'm going to say Miriko. Yeah, I'm going to say Miriko and... Miriko, Hawks, and people like that didn't know who Deku were. And they just thought that he would not all make it up to the top. Because he was really lazy. And they just thought of Kitsuki. They thought Kitsuki might make it to the top, but they weren't really sure. Nope, they became the number 1 and 2 pro heroes. Right? And so Deku gets really famous by this. His mother is very proud of him. And, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to make a series called What If Deku Was Saiyans After UA. That's not going to be the series I'm starting now. That's going to be after that. You're going to get another series after the special's over. It's going to be uploaded, part 1 is. So, after I get done with that What If, I'm going to go to What If Deku Was Saiyans After UA. Because I just got a massive inspiration. So the start of the story is one day, Deku is chilling, hanging out on his couch, watching TV. It's late at night. He's watching TV. Uraraka is cooking in the kitchen. Eri is playing with some toys. And Kitsuki is over hanging out over there because him and Deku are scheming because there's a new villain organization that popped up, right? And there's a big raid that's being planned, and so him and Deku were planning this out all day, right? So Deku just tells Kitsuki to just stay the night over here, so that way they can do the planning in the morning. because they had planned mainly throughout the entire day. Because Deku's big brain, he's smarter than Nezu. Right now, his IQ is vast. I don't even know what to think about it. It's well past 400. He is the smartest thing in the world. Yet you wouldn't think it. He's just lazy all the time. So that's why everyone left the planning up to Deku and Kitsuki, because Kitsuki, he doesn't have Nezu's IQ. His IQ is a small bit less than Nezu's. Kitsuki's is. So Kitsuki is still pretty smart. Really smart, actually. And so they were planning all day. Kitsuki's going over it, just double checking everything, making sure it's good. Right? And so while Deku's watching TV, he just drifts off to sleep. And Deku hasn't seen or spoken to Sans he's about 22, like I said. 21. I think I said he was actually 21. Or 20. I'm just going to go ahead and say... I think I might have said he's 22. I'm just going to go say that he is 22. So he hasn't spoken to Sans and... He hasn't spoken to Sans in about 5 years. Right? He's dreaming... And he kind of misses talking to Sans. Right? So while he's dreaming, all of a sudden, Sans pops up, right? And Sans says, "Whoa, kiddo, I never expected to be seeing you again." Deku greets him like he's a good old friend, which he is. They hug, they shake each other's hands, they start cracking puns. So Sans says, "So, how's your life going?" Deku goes, "It's going pretty well, actually. Got myself a nice house, a lovely girl." And just goes over his life and stuff. And Deku mentions that he's now the top hero. He's the best hero in all of Japan. And Sans says, "Well, of course you would be. You have my amazing powers." And Deku goes, "You're starting to sound like my brother." Sans just laughs and chuckles. And they just mainly just catch up on stuff. Sans tells him what's going on in the underground. Right? Frisk isn't there anymore. Well, Frisk is, but she doesn't. But this Frisk cannot do the genocide route because I don't know why. So it's always just a good time in the underground for Sans. Deku's just taking all his stuff in about the undergrounds. And so they talk for what feels to them, it feels like they've only been talking for an hour, right? And Sans says, "Huh, well, kid, I guess it's morning. From the looks of it, your brother's very angry that you haven't woken up yet." And Deku goes, "Ah, crap. Oh, we're planning on a big raid on a villain organization, Sans. That's why he's probably upset." Sans laughs and says, what you're doing is right now is you're sleeping instead of planning." Deku goes, "Yep." Sans sighs and says, "You're just like me, kid." Deku goes, "Oh, yeah." And he pinches his arm and wakes up. Because he was like, "There you are, you finally woke up, you lazy bones." And just starts berating him and scolding him for staying up late. Erie's laughing. So is Uraraka. Deku goes, yeah, keep on yelling at me, that'll do a lot of good. Wait, okay, so I think I said Endeavor was third. I'm going to move him down to fifth. Todoroki is third. Bakugo is fourth. No. Bakugo is third. Todoroki is fourth. Endeavor is fifth. Endeavor's pissed that because Shoto was meant to surpass him and become the #1 pro hero and all that shit. Nope, he ended up being number 4. I think that makes Mirko the number 7th pro hero? Top 7th? I don't know what that makes her. So Deku gets up and they start planning, right? And after they get their plans done, they send them over to a new hero agency. I don't know what to call this. Right? I don't know what to call it at all. Well, they don't send it. They mainly Deku just teleports over there and delivers it in. They look at it, they go in, and they think, oh, this is a pretty good plan. And so this is a pretty big villain organization. And so it was doing a whole lot of harm, mainly just selling illegal narcotics and weapons, making loads of money, growing in power almost every day. Still to go on, so a lot of these other pro heroes are going over the plans like, holy crap, this is a good plan. Right, and so they get the number 3rd pro hero, Bakugo. Katsuki Bakugo. Katsuki Bakugo. They get the number 4th pro hero, Shoto Todoroki, the number 5th, Endeavor. I don't know what Todoroki's name would be, I forgot it. Bakugo's isn't King Explosion Murder, or whatever his was gonna be. I think that Kitsuki's hero name should be I don't know. If you guys have an idea for what Kitsuki's hero name should be, let me know. Deku's hero name is just gonna be the guy who helped him out the most, Sans. He just calls himself Sans. Everyone's like, that's an interesting name. Deku goes, oh yeah, believe me, that's what I said. And everyone gets confused when he says this, but he never explains why. But he never explains to them why it's like that. So they get him there. And so they're going over this plan, right? So I'm gonna say, I don't know what other places all the other heroes should be. So I'm just gonna say that Ida is in 8th place. No, I don't know. Ida's in whatever place he should be in with his current ranking. So also everyone who's involved in this raid is gonna be Deku, Kitsuki, Katsuki, Todoroki, Endeavor, Mirko, Tokoyami. Not Momo, because she's still on leave, the maternal leave, whatever it's called. I forgot what it's called. Ida. Sorry, I almost forgot Ida existed. Who should be in this raid? I'm gonna say Kirishima, too. Also Denki. All of these heroes are gonna be in this raid. And then you got people like Hawks and everyone else who's in the raid. They're in the raid too. Uraraka's on maternal leave because she's pregnant. Preggers. So she's not there. Right, so Deku's looking over the plans again. He explains to everyone what their positions are going to be. Because right now they're held up in a massive warehouse, right? And they have intel that says that it's heavily fortified on the inside. Right, so Deku's plan is, the plan is for them to launch an attack that's obvious but not too obvious at the front, like where the front entrance is. And then they're gonna have That's mainly going to consist of Endeavor. It's going to consist of most of the group attacking from there. But Deku, Todoroki, Tokoyami, those three are going to go in through a reinforced 3 feet of bulletproof glass skylight window, right? They're going to go in through there while a commotion is going on at the front gate, right? And so later that day they launch their attack and everything. It goes about almost exactly how Deku had planned. So Deku teleports him up into the skylight. I don't know why he wasn't able to teleport in the building. Don't ask me. I'm just the guy who makes the entire story. I have no idea. So they go in this warehouse. Sorry, I'm not good with this type of stuff. This is probably not going to be that good of a special. You guys don't have to watch this if you don't want. This one isn't that good. So Deku bursts open the glass with a gaster blaster. It hits it, and the glass just breaks and caves in. And Deku grabs a hold of him. Deku summons a big gaster blaster, and they all just kind of go downwards. They just ride the gaster blaster down, and just like they had planned, most of the villains, I'm gonna say 75% of the villains, went to where most of the pro heroes are. The rest of them stayed in the warehouse, right? And they are like, "Oh shit, the heroes are here," right? And then they see that there's a gaster blaster that isn't orange, and they're like, "Oh shit, it's the number 1 hero. We're fucked." And then Deku starts blasting them with the gaster blaster they're on and stuff. Tokoyami and Todoroki jump off, right? And so they're fighting villains. Deku is sitting on top of a gaster blaster, sending out bones, knocking out villains, and just blasting them with the low-powered gaster blaster. Tokoyami's just using Dark Shadow and stuff. Todoroki's using his ice to freeze villains, and he's using fire to get him away from certain areas and stuff. So they clear out the small amount of villains that were on the inside, right? And so Deku, they start looking. See, because they had gotten information that there was a secret underground lab, because that's where they were developing new drugs and stuff. Alright, so Deku finds it almost in a heartbeat. He shouts to Tokoyami and Todoroki, "Yo, found it!" And they walk over there, and they just see this big, thick steel titanium door kind of thing. It's made up of steel and titanium and stuff. It's got this thick metal lock, right? And Todoroki's like, "Oh, maybe I can freeze it and burn." And then all of a sudden the lock pops open because Deku blasted it with the gaster blaster. Like, oh, well, we could do that too. Like, so Todoroki and Tokoyami try lifting up the door, and like, this is too goddamn heavy. Deku points at how there's hydraulics holding it shut, and they're like, oh, that makes more sense. Right, so Deku presses a button, and the hydraulics try opening up the door, but it can't. Deku's like, oh, fucking hell. Use gravity manipulation to rip the door off the hinges and send it flying back. The reason why it wasn't opening was because they hadn't turned off the safety. There was a safety measure kind of thing that they had to activate, then they had to type in a password for it to open. Deku said, fuck that, and just ripped the door off the hinges with the gravity manipulation. Tokoyami says, well, that's one way to do things. They start walking down, and they see a whole bunch of empty cages. Most of them are empty. Some of them have people in it. And the cages that are empty mainly have blood that's left in them. And they have people in test tubes with a whole bunch of IVs. And so Deku uses gravity and manipulation to pick up a note. He reads it. And so the reason why they have these people here are to test the drugs on them. Most of their drugs are just to get people high, and they use those to make money, right? And they mass produce those. But then what they mainly make are what their goal is to make a enhancement type of drugs to make you faster, stronger, make your quirk stronger for longer, take away the negative side effects and stuff. That's what they were testing here, right? So they're going over this. They're just Todoroki and Tokiyami are completely shocked at all this horribleness. Deku is just walking through with a blank face, not caring. Well, he does care, but it doesn't look like it, right? So they walk up to this big, and it says, "Please keep doors shut" and stuff. And Deku touches it, and he says, "Huh, it's extremely cold." Right? And so they go rummaging around, and then it turns out that this big sort of vault thing is cryo freeze. It has a cryo in it. It's cryo storage, sorry. It's mainly used to keep certain items that need to be cooled cool. And they're testing out this new drug, right? This drug, it super enhances the body. It makes you a lot stronger, a lot faster, and it increases your quirk's strength, and lets your quirk do new things, but with very little drawbacks. The only drawbacks is that too much consumption of it at one time can lead to nervous system damage, brain damage, increased heart attack risk, and things like that. So if you were to only take, so it was injections. So if you were to inject it, right, one syringe, you wouldn't feel any of the drawbacks. There would still be some, but they would be almost unnoticeable. But you wouldn't get a whole bunch of bonuses. A whole bunch of, like, strength enhancement and everything. Your quirk would be a little bit better, but it wouldn't be a whole lot. So they have an enhanced version that just does all that, but, like, a lot more. That one has a whole bunch of extra drawbacks, though. And they're selling this to people, and people are kind of dying because they're taking too much of it at a time. Right? And so they're trying to find out one that does not have drawbacks, but does increase your strength by a whole bunch without killing the patient. Right? And then they find out that there are a select few types of people that have certain types of blood and genes and stuff. So these type of people will feel almost no drawbacks, will get all the benefits too. And they are kidnapping these people, and then they are just putting them through these experiments with it, right? And they basically have created super soldiers. And guess who their first client was that wanted some of these super soldiers? A very big country, very rich country. A country that prioritizes the military a lot. It's the U.S. Their first client was the U.S., of course. The United States really wanted these super soldiers and the drugs too. So they had already shipped out a whole bunch. They had shipped out a couple super soldiers. I'm going to say 4, and a whole bunch of the enhancement drugs. So the U.S. can conduct their own research. Right? And so it was already too late for that. Deku finding this, right? And so he takes it as evidence. And among other things. Right? And so as they're taking a whole bunch of evidence, a villain comes out of a wall, right? The wall opens up, right? And he goes, the number 1 hero, the number 4 hero, the 4th hero. And he looks at Tokiyami and he says, "And who are you?" Tokiyami says his place. And he goes, "Oh yes, Bird Brain. Okay. Well, now I can't let you leave alive with all this." And Deku says, Do you have any idea how many heroes are here?" Plus, you don't have a door protecting this place. All this shit is just out in the open. And he holds up a button and says, holds up a little detonator and says, this will clear everything. This is only a temporary lab. Short made, quick made, could easily be broken down and replaced and fixed. Right, and he's holding this detonator, right? He's just about to press it when Deku pulls it out of his hands using gravity manipulation. The villain laughs and says, well, that's not gonna be enough to stop me. And then the villain goes... So, I'm gonna say this villain's quirk is, mind manipulation. When he activates it, he can make you do whatever he wants. It's like Senso's quirk, except you don't even need to talk to him. Just being near him does it. There are certain drawbacks. Those who are mentally strong or have super high intelligence like Deku and Nezu and Kitsuki. Mentally strong would be All Might and Endeavor. Or those who don't have a mind, right? Or like, I don't know how to describe it, but let's just say that let's just say the sludge villain, right? This guy's quirk would not work on the sludge villain because the sludge villain is different. I don't really know how to describe it, but I do have in my mind how it works. I'll try to find a way to describe it, right? So he uses his quirk on all of them and tries to tell them to stay here and intend to detonate it, right? Deku has a detonator. It only affects Tokoyami, right? Because Todoroki is pretty smart, but not smart enough to overcome the mind control. But he is very, and I mean very determined on being a hero and won't let anything stand in the way. Not like Bakugo, but he's still extremely, so it doesn't work on him. So Tokoyami looks at Deku. His eyes are completely white and lunges at him trying to get the detonator. Deku just holds out his hands and throws Tokoyami into a wall and summons Bones to hold him there. He then makes Tokoyami summon Dark Shadow, but Dark Shadow won't listen to him because it's not Tokoyami speaking. It's Tokoyami's brain under control, so he doesn't listen to him. Right? And so the villain, then while looking at him, smoke just bursts out of nowhere, and it's so thick that Todoroki can't see through it, but Deku can easily see through it because he's Deku. I'm making him overpowered. He then holds out his hand, and then the hero who can control people, right? The villain that can do that, comes flying into Deku's hands, holding him by the neck, right? Deku then slams him into the ground, knocking him out. He then grabs another villain, and this villain can make smoke, which isn't that useful unless you're making it, but get away. So they're both knocked out, right? Both the villains are. Tokoyami then comes back to his normal self, and he goes, how did I end up in a wall? Deku explains what happens, and Tokoyami says, sorry guys. Deku releases the bone restraints from Tokoyami. Deku then grabs a hold of the villain with the mind control quirk, right? And so they gathered a whole bunch of files on transactions and how to make the drugs and stuff and USBs. And things like that, right? They gathered all that. And then they grabbed some They grabbed a box full of, it was just basically, it just had a tape on it that said, burn. So they grabbed that without looking at it, right? And so they come out, right? All the heroes have just finished off the last villains, knocking them unconscious, right? Deku's got all this evidence, and he has two unconscious villains behind him, floating. And they ask, who are those guys, right? And Deku says, I have no idea, but we need to get these guys in custody. And they get those two villains in custody. The guy with the mind control quirk, he's wearing a special mask. No, he just has this thing around his neck that cancels out his quirk, right? So they're interrogating him. The box that says burnables had a whole bunch of has a whole bunch of evidence of failed experiments that have killed people. It has some residue of some of the failed drugs, right? And they take this residue and they test it and stuff. They look over all the files and USB drives Deku had gathered, and so the heroes get a freeze villain. Get to freeze hero. Actually, they just grab Todoroki. What am I thinking? So Todoroki goes down there and goes back to the place. I mean, and he. And so they use him to freeze these boxes full of these drugs and get him into another cryo storage unit. And then they test him and they find out all this stuff, right? The villain laughs and so after they get all this, they start interrogating this villain, right? The villain laughs and says, "Oh, you think you can stop us?" And he says that we are the greatest villains that were to have ever lived. They're the strongest, and we have the most backing of any other group. Right, and he's just going on about this speech, right, and Deku gets bored of it and walks out of the room. Tells someone, and he points at Kitsuki, and he says, "Go listen to this guy babble on, I'm tired." Right, and he leaves. And then there's a break-in, right? There's a bank robbery. Deku just teleports over there. He walks in the building. A villain that doesn't know anything, doesn't know too many heroes, right? He looks at Deku, he says, "Oh, hey, dumbass in the blue hoodie, get down on the ground," right? And then the main guy there, who's leading everything, looks at Deku. He then puts down his bag of money and his guns. He then gets on his knees and puts his hand behind his head and tells everyone, do the same. They're like, wait, well, why? Well, that is the #1 pro hero right there. Do you have any idea what he'll do to us if we don't just go ahead and do this? Like, what? And they say he can't do anything. Look at him. What kind of a pro hero dresses like that? He's probably he's probably just trying to dress like him. So they start shooting at him. Deku's teleporting out of the way. And then someone's a gaster blaster, blasting one guy into the other, knocking them out. He arrests them all, and they get into custody, and they get arrested, and they get put in jail for a couple years. Minor stuff. Then after that long day of stopping villains and stuff, he goes home to his girlfriend, Uraraka, and his adoptive daughter, Eri. Right? They have a nice dinner made. Deku sits down, starts eating. Right? And he's looking at his food, right? And he goes, and he says, something's missing. Uraraka goes, "Oh, I almost forgot." She turns around, opens up the fridge, and throws a bottle of ketchup at Deku. Deku grabs it and goes, "Ah, that's what was missing." And he starts pouring the ketchup all over the food and eats it and goes, "Ah, now it's 10 times better." Eri is laughing. They eat and stuff. Right, and so Deku goes back into their living room, right, and turns on their TV. They start watching shows. They're watching a comedy show, right? Eri is watching it too. Uraraka is. Right, and it's later and it's late in the day. It's not nighttime. I don't think it should be nighttime yet for them. But late in the day, they're watching this nice comedy show. Laughing and stuff. Then Deku gets a phone call. He stands up, checks the number. It's from, I'm gonna say it's from, who should it be from? Fuck it, it's from It's from Denki. Yeah, it's from Denki. Right? Yeah, Denki. Yeah, we're just gonna say this. Denki calls Deku and says, "Hey, Deku, we're gonna be throwing a party. You wanna come along?" And Deku asks, "Really? This is just out of the blue." Denki goes, "Oh yeah, I know, but we're throwing it tonight. You wanna come along?" Deku says, "Who's gonna be there?" Mainly just all the guys. Some of the girls they want to tag along too. And Dinky just goes over the party, right? And he says, "There will be drinking and stuff." Deku goes, "I don't drink, but I'll still come." Right? And so he asks Dinky, "Where is it from?" Dinky, "Where's the party at?" Right? And so Dinky tells him. Says, "Alright, I'll be out there in a little bit." Dinky goes, Alright, see you in a little bit." Hangs up. Deku walks back in, tells Uraraka that they're throwing a party, and then he wants to go. Uraraka lets him. And so, Deku just immediately teleports over there to the party. When he walks in, literally almost every Bakugo, Todoroki, even Kitsuki, they somehow got Kitsuki to show up. Denki, Mineta, Ida, Tokoyami, Tail Guy. Who else should be there? I don't remember any of the other guys. Sero, Tape Guy, is there too. And a few girls are there. Jiro's there because Denki's throwing the party. Momo's there. And I'm gonna say Invisible Girl is there too, right? Deku shows up, they all go, "Hey!" And they run over to him, they drag him in, set him down at the table, right? And so they just start playing games like, most of them, except for Todoroki, Tokoyami, Momo, and Deku, most of them are playing games like beer pong and stuff. And Deku's just watching as Dinky gets shit-faced and starts talking dumb stuff. Right? And, he says something very stupid, right? And, forgot her... Jiro, right, smacks him and says, You're always just stupid, you know that? Even if you don't use your quirk, you're dumb." Dinky says something along the lines of, "Of course I'm stupid, that's my whole thing." Bakugo says, I don't know what Bakugo should say, just barely says, Bakugo says, "Yeah, of course that's your thing, dunce face." Dinky, Bakugo, Kirishima laugh. They're all playing. I forgot to say Mina's there too, because she likes to party. So they're doing party games and stuff. Deku's mainly just sitting around, not doing anything. Watching everything, laughing. Right? And so Dinky drunkenly says, "Hey, let's see who can tell the best jokes." Right? And so they sit in a big circle. Right? And they spin a bottle. Whoever it lands on has to tell the funniest joke they can think of. And it lands on everyone but Deku, right? More than multiple times. So they have to go through everyone. It goes through literally everyone except Deku. And it keeps on doing this, right? And Deku says, "Am I ever going to get a turn? Am I ever going to get a turn telling a joke?" Denki says drunkenly, "The bottle chooses, man. The bottle chooses." And so they spin again, and it lands on Deku. Deku says, "Finally." And he tells the funniest joke he possibly can. Nobody laughed, right? And Deku's like, "Wait, did I fuck it up?" Right? He thinks that to himself. Then everyone gets these confused looks. It was a very complicated joke, right? And then all of them realize except for Dinky, and they start laughing their asses off, and Dinky goes, "What's so funny?" And they didn't have to explain it, Dinky just starts laughing. And then the party goes good. They're having a good time. Just dance. Most of them are dancing. Dinky, Jiro, Mita are dancing and stuff to some music. Deku is in the main room because this is at Dinky's house, right? He's in the main room watching TV with Kirishima and Bakugo and Kitsuki. Kitsuki's saying, this is such a wonderful party and stuff. And so while they're watching TV, Kirishima taps. They're just talking, right? And so they're asking each other how's their day, how's their life's been going on. Right? Bakugo asks, so Deku, how's Uraraka doing? He says, she's doing good and everything. And so they then ask how Irie's doing, right? And Deku and Kitsuki says, this man, points at Deku and says, is such a bad influence. And they ask why. She acts just like him. Lazy, only likes ketchup, and now she started telling puns. They start laughing except for Kitsuki. He goes, this is not funny, this is a serious matter. We do not need a second Izuku running around. Deku laughs and says, well, now you're going to get a second. And after Uraraka gives birth, maybe there's going to be a third. And Kitsuki starts, and he sheds a tear and he starts crying, thinking about the possibility of having 3 new Dekus all cracking puns. He goes, no. I could put up with 1, but 3? God, no! This got all of them laughing. Kitsuki's is being kind of serious when he says this. He's crying and stuff. Not really crying. He's like, what? No, not 3 of them. No. They go back to watching this show that they're watching, right? Party starts to die down a bit. Dinky passed out. Jiro takes him upstairs, says, I'm going to go ahead and put him to bed, right? I'll be down in a minute. She doesn't come back down for a long time. She doesn't come down for the rest of the party, right? So they ask Deku to go check up on her. Right? So he's about to walk up there, and he walks up to Dinky's room and hears something strange. Puts his ear up to the door and hears a loud squeaking noise, and he goes, okay, never mind, and he walks back downstairs. And so they ask him, how's Jiro doing? And he goes, I don't know, but something tells me she's having a good time. And we go, wait, what, why? And he winks and goes, you know why. Everyone gets it. And so people are mainly just passed out, right? And the only people who are still up are Bakugo, Kirishima. Everyone else is like drunk and stuff, except for Momo and Todoroki. So Todoroki and Momo leave, right? So Bakugo, Kirishima picks up Mina and takes her to his car, right? And so now the only people who are still there that aren't drunk and aren't passed out are Kitsuki, Bakugo, and Deku, right? So they just start talking and stuff, right? And so Bakugo says, alright, I think I'm gonna go head out now. And he leaves. And Bakugo looks at Kitsuki and says, hey Kitsuki, you need a ride home? Kitsuki says, no, I have my car outside. It's a nice red sports car. And so they stand up. He helps Kitsuki up, right? Kitsuki gets up. Deku didn't drive there, right? And so Kitsuki says, where's your car, Deku? And Deku says, I don't drive, remember? I don't have to drive. I can teleport, remember? Kitsuki goes, yes, but cars are so nice. You should at least get one someday. Deku goes, we have one, it's just Uraraka's. And Kitsuki goes, oh, alright. Deku says, peace, little bro, and goes Kitsuki, drives off. Deku stands outside the house for a minute, right? Looks back at it. It's Dinky's house. He then just snaps his fingers and teleports back to his house. Ooh, it's now late. It's almost midnight. Yuri's asleep. Uraraka's asleep on the couch. She fell asleep watching some movies. So Deku walks back in, sees this, kind of has a slight chuckle, goes up to his room and passes out. And so when Deku wakes up in the early morning to a phone call. And it's from the hero agents. It's from the heroes. More specifically, it's from Eraserhead. I'm just gonna say it's from Eraserhead. And he has it in his he has Eraser in his phone as a Eraser is Pencil Boy. I don't know why, but he just calls him that all the time, and it makes Eraser very angry. Or he either calls him Pencil Boy, Caterpillar Man, or sleep deprived. He calls him one of those three, but he has him saved in his phone as Pencil Boy. And so he answers the call and says, "What do you need?" Eraser goes, "We need you over here we need you over here right now. We got a massive situation going on." Deku says, "Where?" Goes, "At the agency. Where the hell else?" Deku goes, "Alright, fine." Teleports over there without even hanging up. Eraser says, "Hello, hello." Deku says to the phone, "Right here." Eraser scares the shit out of Eraser and he turns around and goes, "Oh, god damn it." And Deku goes, "Well, so what's the problem?" And Eraser says, "You know that villain you guys took down yesterday?" Deku goes, "Yeah." Eraser goes, "He escaped. And we've just uncovered 6 more drug labs." Deku goes, "God damn it, the police are so incompetent." He doesn't say that. He goes, "God damn it, you guys are so incompetent." Eraser says, "It's not our fault. They just blasted through the door and stuff." Deku goes, "You couldn't have contacted anyone to help stop him?" Eraser goes, "No. By the time everyone got there, he was already gone." Deku just sighs and goes, "Alright. So what do we need to do?" Right? And so Eraser says, "Follow me." And he opens up a door, right? Deku and Eraser walk in. There's a whole and it's got all the pro heroes in there from 2 down to the 27th to the 20th pro hero, ranked down to the ranked 25th pro hero. I'm gonna say that. That's how many pro heroes are in this room, right? And all of them stand up to greet Deku because he's the number 1 pro hero. I'm gonna say that that Kitsuki stands up before everyone else, runs over and shakes Deku's hand and tells him, kind of gives him a quick briefing. Eraser says, "I was gonna do that, but alright." So Deku sits down and they give Deku a quick briefing and they go over everything, right? And they go over where this place is, right? And they say everything. Just then Deku gets a phone call, right? And he steps outside the room. And it's from an unknown number. He presses it, right? And he goes, "Hello, who is this?" And in their voice, all he hears is, "Cat." Hold on. And in a deep, scraggly voice, he hears, "Kaboom." Second, he says that there's a loud explosion in the meeting room. Deku rips the door off using his powers, right? You see that there's a massive hole in the building, right? Just then a whole bunch of villains pop in. One of them shoots at an unconscious Kitsuki, right? Shooting him, and he's unconscious, right? Deku blasts this villain, right? And he runs over to Kitsuki. Kitsuki's not waking up. Keeps on shaking Kitsuki. Kitsuki's just not waking up at all, right? Deku checks his pulse, right? And he checks his pulse. He's feeling for it. And that's where I'm going to leave it off. Part 1 of my What If will be coming out today, of my new one. If you guys know it, fuck it. I might make a new, actually, no, I don't know. It's up to you guys. Do you guys want... Okay, so I'm going to do this what if, this new one, no matter what. But after it, do you guys want another new what if, or do you want to have what if Deku was Sans after UA? Do you guys want that or no? You guys tell me.